Welcome, my name is Hasnain and I am part of the Young Innovators Network. This live stream is a part of a series of live streams hosted by the Young Innovators Network where we discuss suitable study skills for primary, high school, and university students. Joining me in this live stream is this discussion panel consisting of Ayan, Shayan, and Usman. So if you guys would like to introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Shanali. I am currently an SRC member, the vice captain of the SRC, and I'm also a year 11 student, and I'm also part of the Young Innovators Network. That's about it.
Okay, thank you, Shayan. We'll move on to Ayan.
Hello everyone, my name is Ayan Ali. I go to the same school, Shayan Faisal College. I am the vice captain of VA6 SRC, and yeah, that's about it.
Okay, thank you, Ayan, and we'll finally go to Usman.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Usman, and I've been part of the Young Innovators for about 2-3 years now, and I go to Elemental College in Liverpool.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So basically, how this live stream will work is that we'll be playing a video, and throughout the video, we'll be pausing throughout certain sections of the video where our panel will give their insights and thoughts into certain aspects of this video, and they'll give their personal experiences as well. And for those viewers who are watching, you can engage in this discussion through the comment section down below. And so let's get going. Play the video, please.
Hi, as part of Smart Study Skill series, we will be looking towards how to be productive in the studies, and the time management is the first step towards that. Before we do that, we want to look at how to be productive in study means.
I think there is some technical issue, so we'll just wait for it to fix it up. But in the meantime, just as a heads up, we will be pausing throughout the video, throughout this live stream. So if throughout viewers, if you have anything to say or any recommendations that you would have in response to this video, make sure to head to the comment section down below, and it will answer. So the first question I would like to ask to our panel is, what does productivity mean in your own words, specifically in this context regarding study? So we'll start with Shayan. What does it mean to you?
Well, productivity to me means when someone is being efficient, and being efficient is very important when it comes to productivity, because when you're not efficient, you're obviously wasting time, and productive also means that you don't waste your time. So when I say waste time, that means that if something wasn't worth your time, you're not being productive. It's as simple as that. That's in essence what I think productive means.
Okay, good. That's a good point right there, made by Shayan, that productivity relates to completing work efficiently in the least amount of time, rather. And if you're taking too long to do something, that means you're not being productive about it, and it can obviously impact your daily schedule. How about Ayan? What do you think productivity means in your own words?
So as Shayan said, it's to be efficient and to do something in the least amount of time, and that's basically what productivity really means to me. And if you're not doing it, like if you're spending time on something like too much, you're not being really productive though.
Okay, thank you, Ayan. And we'll finally ask Usman, who, if you have anything to add on to what Shayan and Ayan said about productivity.
Productivity to me means like to be effective and efficient, as Shayan said, in the least amount of time to get the most amount of work done. So I agree with Ayan and Shayan.
Okay, thank you. Can we continue with the video, please?
Means to a student. Basically, what makes your productivity is includes mean you're spending less time on your study activities and you complete more of them. and as a result, you get good grades. But there's one most important thing towards this productivity is you really enjoy it, you love it doing it. So that's very important. If that element is missing, it makes you more efficient, but you can't call it that I'm productive. So how to achieve that? What skill do I need? First thing is you need to be good with the time management. That is the focus of this video. We will talk that more later. And the second thing, you need to learn how to be active with your brain and energetic with your body. Means how do you keep yourself more energetic while you're doing these learning activities. And the third skill, you need to have the good studies techniques about reading, writing, memorizing, etc. And the fourth one, which will be look at later, is about use of study tools. That can be a calculator, or it can be an app, or a computer skills. Let's go towards the first step, which is about time management. Everyone knows that we have the same amount of time, but what matters is how you spend that time, and that thing start with your planning skills. The planning start when the term start, and in the start of the term, every teacher gives you the
We pause the
detail
video,
of
please.
their whole term, where they tell you what kind.
So basically, so yeah, okay, thank you. So what this part of the video talks about is how to manage your time efficiently, and it is the start to being productive, and it is a fundamental in order to be productive throughout your day. So I'm going to ask Shayan, what's your thoughts on this?
Okay, so the video basically stated talking about productivity, right? It gave a lot of common facts that everyone would agree with. However, there are some things that are a little bit inaccurate or wrong, in my opinion. First off, being that they said that you have to enjoy yourself to be productive. Now, as students, let's be a little bit realistic. You could be productive without enjoying yourself. If you memorize, let's say, 30 to 40 facts for, let's say, a subject such as history or a subject such as science, then you're basically ensuring yourself at least about 20 to 30 marks in a test on top of what you already understood. So you're still being productive. You don't have to enjoy yourself to be productive. That's what I'm trying to say. You could be productive without enjoying yourself. That's one thing. That's very important. Because if someone thinks enjoying themselves is how they're being productive, then what will happen is that they will waste so much time, they won't be efficient, and they'll waste time. What I'm trying to say is that you can be productive without enjoying yourself. Don't always try and find joy in everything. The reality is that you won't find it. And one more thing I wanted to mention was that spending less time doesn't mean you're productive. Being efficient means being productive. Because if I don't do any studying at all, or if I only do like 10 minutes of studying, it doesn't mean I'm productive. If I'm efficient with my studying, then I'm productive. That's all I wanted to say. These are very two important things that I feel like the video got wrong and needs to fix on.
Yep, that's a good correction made there by Shayan, is that not everything has to be found with joy in them. And this is true, especially for me as well personally. I tend to be really productive, especially when I don't enjoy things too much, because when you enjoy things, you're more likely to be less productive than be actually productive in your studies. So I'm going to ask Ayan as well, what your thoughts on this video?
So, as I'm in year six and I'm going to high school, most people in high school, such as the people in year six last year who went to high school, they're like, time management is very important due to you get homework every day with like a lot of subjects. So you have multiple homework just due the next day or the next, like by the end of the week. So it's very important in high school to and in workplaces to have time management. Otherwise, it's very hard to do your work. Even right now in year six with SRC and everything.
Okay, thank you, Shayan, for your input. So now we can continue with the video.
And that thing start with your planning skills. The planning start when the term start, and in the start of the term, every teacher gives you the detail of their whole term, where they tell you what kind of things we're going to study, what are the assignments you're going to get, quizzes, tests, projects, exam, and they will spell it out in terms of, okay, in this week you will get this quiz, and at that week you will get a major assignment worth this many marks. That need to be somewhere planned in your term calendar. You can use Google Calendar and any other calendar app for that. All right, so that is very important, that if you look at your term calendar, it should be full of activities. So what is most important by you putting those items in the calendar? You put decent number of reminders based on the importance of that activity. So if your assignment's due in 2 weeks, you put a reminder for the first draft, second draft, and the final submission. So you don't miss out, you don't get the sudden shock, okay, I have to do this today. Now we look at
Okay, can we
when you're
stop
spending your
video?
time, how do you
Okay, thank you. So basically, this video is talking about planning strategies and planning before this term begins. So I'd like to go to Shayan. What are your thoughts on this?
There is one thing that we also have to mention, or that I feel like needs to be mentioned. You will also have to edit your own plan, obviously, because what happens is that at the start of the term, the only information you get is when assignments are happening, especially in high school. You only find out when assignments are happening. You're only told that excursions are going to happen at maybe this time, but you don't get an exact date. So for excursions, you have to remember that you're going to be told about excursions very much later on in the term, and that's very important to note. On top of that, many things might be late, especially assignments, and you're going to have to adjust your plan every single time. And your excursions and assignments might overlap at the same time, so make sure to edit your plans accordingly. And yeah, that was about it. So announcements can happen late, so just be prepared for that as well, and try and edit everything. Don't just leave the plan and forget about editing. Editing is very important, so you can look back at your calendar and know that, oh, this has changed, so I need to be ready for this. That's it. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Shayan. Very good points mentioned there about being flexible with your plan and being prepared for any unexpected events, especially excursions and uncertain assignments, and needing to prepare and vacate some time for them. So I'm going to move to Ayan. What are your thoughts on how you plan before the start of the term?
So as what Sean said, if you plan, so at the start of the year you get all your assignments and assessments. So then you plan it out by that. But then if you have any family or school excursions or any late things, you're gonna have to adjust it, and it's much more easier online instead if you print it out and then you're gonna have to reprint it again. And as I was talking about high school before, it's very important as well to basically be efficient as well. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ayan. Just a quick heads up, if you're whoever's watching this live stream right now on YouTube or Facebook, you can engage in this discussion through the comment section below and give your suggestions based on this specific segment. So, Usman, you have any input on this? I think Usman has a technical issue, so we'll come back to him. So, um, back to me. So I think this is really relevant for students like me and Shayan, who are both in year 11 right now, where time management is crucial to ace, because if you stuff up your time management now, it is obviously going to have a domino effect into what you're going to do later on. And especially in year 12, in your final year of high school, you cannot stuff up your time management. There is no room for error. And if you stuff up your time management, then it will have catastrophic and potentially lifelong effects and indirect effects, which are lengthy and really painful. So it is. So for people like Ayan, who are just starting high school now, it is a good opportunity for him right now to start formulating a good plan before starting the term, and therefore he'll be more used to managing his time more efficiently. So let's go to the video.
die. Now we look at when you're spending your time, how do you track it? In the school, you have a timetable that follow by the school teachers, and you don't need to be really worried about too much about it. But when you're at home, you need to track your time of how much time you're spending on learning activity, how much time you're spending on leisure activities or fun activities. This will make you self-aware because once you know, oh, I've been on this for 2 hours, that will make you indirectly, okay, I should not be doing that. But once you don't know it, for that you can use any app or a clock or a timer. There is a very nice app called Clockify, which helps you to track your time, especially when you're doing your leisure activities. All right, and to be more organized at
Can we pause the
your
video, please? Okay, thank you. So based on this, thank you. So based on this specific slide you can see on screen right now, there are many ways to track your time. So I'm going to ask the panel, what system do you have for tracking your time, and first of all, do you track your time, and if so, how? So I'm going to ask Shayan first.
I'm just gonna be quick on this. When it comes to tracking my time, I used to have like a family app that basically told me how much time I spent on certain apps. Otherwise, now what I do to track time is because what I do is that whenever I'm gonna get on my computer, I always look at the watch, and then after, let's say I play a bunch of games, I realize how long I played. Same applies to studying. When I get started, I look at the watch, and what happens is that after a while, I get into the habit of memorizing how much time I spent. And this actually tells me if I was efficient, how much time I wasted, and what I need to improve on when studying. That was about it.
Okay, thank you, Shayan. So we will move on with the video. And for our viewers, if you have any other suggestions that our panel did not mention or the video did not mention, you can leave it to the comments down below and we will consider them. Okay, play the video, please.
Time, especially when you're doing your leisure activities. All right, and to be more organized at your homework, you should have some sort of a plan. So how do you do it? It's not as strict as we do in the school, but it need to be a flexible. So when you come home, you exactly know what are the things you have to do in terms of your homework. If there's any assignment due, or you need to prepare exam or quiz, then you should plan it in terms of a small to-do list, which is written in any app in a calendar, or you can put in a Google Keep, which makes you to-do list for any kind of activities you do. And you don't need to put every activity in every day. For example, if you have assignment due, you need to look at, okay, I can skip this activity for today because I have assignment due. Similarly, if there's a social activity at home, I need to wrap up quickly my homework, and I need to be not doing, for example, playing on a computer. So you can just do that. That means you don't need to put every activity in every day. It's all based on the priorities. When you talk about priorities, there.
Okay, so based on this segment of the video, it talks about how you can actually plan your time and what kinds of apps or software can be used to plan out your day when you're in school. So, for example, when it said keep it flexible, that is extremely important because flexibility caters for unexpected events. Whereas if you're just time blocking certain tasks for certain times only, and it can mean it's extremely rigid, and that can lead to certain complications if there's unexpected events. So I'm going to go to my panel now. So I'm going to ask Shayan. So how do you manage your time, and what are your thoughts on how to organize your work?
Okay, so when it comes to organizing things, it's a good idea to sometimes be very strict with your study schedule. Okay, so I'm going to just explain this a little bit more. In the video, what they said was that you can be flexible. But what happens if you're like a student like me or Hasnain, you're in year 11? What happens in your HSC is that your mark in your let's say, yeah, your mark in your HSE or your ATAR is affected by your ranking in year 11, meaning this is the year you need to focus. And what happens is that if you're flexible with your schedule, sometimes it doesn't work. So sometimes you have to be strict with your study schedule. And in order to be strict and actually go through the whole schedule, talk to your friends or family and tell them that I want to succeed and I want to follow this schedule. And they'll respect your decision, hopefully. And they'll respect your decision so that you're able to actually keep a strict study schedule. By telling other people about your strict schedule, they'll also help remind you and keep you on task. So it's really important. So sometimes you do need to be strict. Being flexible always isn't an option. That's about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shayan. And really good points mentioned there, such as if you're going to have a strict timetable, which you most likely should if you're a student like me or Shayan in year 11, then you need to inform your family members or your house members in advance so that there are no disruptions in the middle of a way, which can interrupt the whole day and therefore can ruin your workflow. So I'm going to go to Usman. Uh, so how do you manage your time and what do you suggest?
Uh, when you have a timetable, it usually takes a little bit of time getting used to it. As at the first few like weeks or so, you're going to like keep changing things around, organizing it, reorganizing, editing, and that might take a while. But when I do a study plan or something like that, I don't have it set to what like I have to study from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. this certain subject. Rather, I'd have it set up by time. So, like for example, I'll study English for 30 minutes and I'll study math for 1 hour, rather than having it specific times. It's more flexible that way. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thanks for your inputs, Usman. And as you can see, we have two very differing opinions. On one side, we have Shayan saying that we should have a strict schedule and saying that flexibility all the time is not suitable. Whereas you have Usman, who is more sort on the side of flexibility, meaning he is willing to cater for unexpected events uh, and willing to dedicate little short amount of time during your study school. So, gonna play the video.
Based on the priorities. When you talk about priorities, there are three steps helps you to prioritize your learning tasks. Okay, the first one is the urgency, which means you decide which item I need to finish it. For example, you have um, a assignment which is due in 2 weeks, and there's a quiz you need to prepare for tomorrow, or there is a homework I need to submit tomorrow. So this is how you put them into the top priority. And on the other side, the importance also matter as well. This is the second step. If you have two tasks and both need to be done uh, today, you will do the which one more important, or also depends on which ones you find it okay. If I finish this, I get a positive boost. So I finish this first, and it's also important because it's an assignment which was 10% marks of the total of my subject, whereas I got another learning activity which is just I need to prepare for a tomorrow lesson. So this is how you decide the importance. And the third thing is the dependency, which means that if there is any activity which is dependent upon the previous one, for example, you're going to study something tomorrow, but you need to finish a lesson before that so you can understand tomorrow. Or you are going to submit your group work to the team so they can carry on the rest of the project. So they are depending upon you as well. So this three things makes up the priority list for you. So whenever you have a list on tasks or a learning task on hand, you put them in a priority list, but make sure you take breaks in between those tasks so your energy levels stay up. So this is the conclusion of this time management is
Okay, so basically this was talking about prioritizing certain tasks over others, and prioritizing certain tasks over others is extremely important. Once again, I've been saying this throughout the live stream, but I can't emphasize enough how important prioritization is when dedicating your tasks for a certain day or certain time. and it is based on all three factors and not just one or two of them. Because if you, for example, if you base something off urgency more, but they might not be as important, and for that reason, you might not be able to get important work done, regardless of whether it is due. But also, the same thing applies for urgency. Same thing applies for importance. And if you're doing, same thing applies for urgency. If you're doing something that is due in like 2 weeks, whereas if you're planning to do something like studying for your quiz, which is tomorrow, then you are more likely to stuff up your plan and you won't be able to get the task you need to get done in a certain amount of time. So I'm gonna go to the panel now. So I'm gonna ask Shayan, do you prioritize, and if so, how?
When it comes to prioritizing, I do prioritize and in a similar order that is mentioned here. However, sometimes when I do have a lot of time, I try and do certain tasks first than other tasks. We spoke about this in previous live streams. But basically, what I want to talk about is that if you're on short time, you do want to prioritize. If you have a lot of time, then prioritizing isn't that important for you, okay? However, as I just mentioned, short time, prioritizing acts as your last defense when it comes to defending yourself against short time and resources. Because what happens is that if I only have an hour left for the rest of my day and I need to go somewhere else, I'm not going to do my homework. If I have an assignment due tomorrow, I'm going to work on the assignment immediately and finish it. That's like number one. That's common sense. That's what prioritizing is. When you know what's important, what comes first. If I have a lot of time, I won't prioritize. However, if I am on a strict time frame, or if I am low on resources, I will prioritize immediately. But yes, that's it.
Okay, some good points mentioned there by Shayan. Thank you for that. However, I would like to mention something that Shayan said, and is that if you have basically a long period of time before something is due, then prioritizing even then is more important than if you're prioritizing, for example, like 1 day or 2 days before an assignment is due. Because if you're if you if you don't prioritize 2 weeks before an assignment or there is a quiz, you might be subject to at a risk of doing things last minute, which may affect the quality or performance of your exam or assignment. And so, t- prioritizing regardless of the due dates and or regardless of due dates and importance is very important, especially if you're like me in your final years of school, or if you're in university already. Time management in this sense is really important and often is the backbone of what you do throughout the day. So let's
So this
continue.
is the conclusion of this time management there are three factors. Number one is always plan, track your time, and then lastly, which is very important, to prioritize. So you not having any kind of stress, rather you have a control and you will be enjoying all your learning activities. So in the next one, we will be looking more about how to keep your energy level up while you are at home.
Okay, so that is the end of the video regarding time management. And so, are there any final comments from our panel regarding the video that it didn't mention, or anything you would like to add onto this particular live stream? So, yep, Ayan.
This is just something which is just like, but like my own personal thing is that if I have work and I need like it's like due in about 2 days, and my parents have to go somewhere. See, you guys are lucky that you guys are older. So you guys, it's easier for you guys to just say, "Oh, I have homework, so I can't go." But with me, I have to go because I'm still young, can't stay home alone. So yeah, it's kind of different to the way you guys are. Yeah, so prioritizing is different for me.
Yep, and when I was in year 6, like you, Ayan, I used to experience the same problem. Sometimes even till today, I still experience this problem. So unfortunately, not that lucky in that sense. But to be honest, that's like a dilemma that often arises when there's important social events, but also you need to study or complete work, which is due the next day or something. So this still remains an issue. But whatever you do, try your best to make the correct decisions and um, based on the prioritizing checklist, for example, your importance, urgency, and dependency, depending on group assignments, you can make a decision based on that, and hopefully uh, and based on that, you can communicate with your parents in advance um, regarding your plan and what work you have left. So, and hopefully they will understand your situation, and hence they can negotiate with you. So, um, so now we'll be playing Kahoot. So anyone who is viewing can join this Kahoot, and yeah. So we're playing a Kahoot now. So while we're waiting for the Kahoot to begin, I would like to talk a little bit about the Young Innovators Club. So the Young Innovators Club, if you haven't been to our previous live streams, so the Young Innovators Club is basically run by the Young Innovators Network. So all of the panel you're seeing here, including myself, are part of the Young Innovators Club. And basically, this club works on creating live streams like the one you're seeing now, and working on workshops and doing other fun activities, uh, and also assisting with other assignments. So that's if you want to be part of this club, just uh, contact us on our email, and hopefully you can join. So the Kahoot has just popped up. So if you're willing to join, enter the code on the screen 3232784. If anyone who is viewing this live stream would like to join into the Kahoot, feel free to do so. Just go to kahoot.it and type in the game pin, which is listed above below, which is said 3232784. So if anyone is still willing to join this Kahoot, it's not too late. You can still join. Just go to kahoot.it and type in the game pin in order to enter and be part of this interesting Kahoot. I heard that the questions of this Kahoot are really interesting, and so it's going to be a really interesting experience, and you'll learn a lot from this Kahoot, and which will reinforce the points mentioned throughout this live stream as well. So this Kahoot will start in about 20 seconds. So it's your last chance to join if you are willing to. Okay, the coup is starting now. So which one is not an ocean? Indian, Arctic, Antarctic, or Pacific? So of course it is the Antarctic, because the Antarctic is just referred to as a region and not an actual ocean, whereas the Indian, Arctic, and Pacific are all forms of oceans. So let's see the leaderboard now. See where everyone stands at this point. Okay, Ali S currently leads at 821 points, followed by Shazin and Maima. Close, a difference by 15 points, followed by HB and Yani Ali. Continue. Next question. What is the name of an animal that eats only plants? Omnivore, herbivore, carnivore, or insectivore? It is indeed a herbivore, which is characterized as an animal who eats plants. An omnivore is an animal that eats both plants and animals, for example, us humans. Carnivore is an animal that eats only meat and animals, whereas insectivore is an animal that only eats insects. Let's look at the leaderboard now. And Maima has moved to top spot with 1,690 points, followed by Shazin and HB in close reach. And let's move on. What are the three primary colors? Red, green, and yellow, red, green, and blue, green, blue, and yellow, purple, red, blue. Indeed, it is red, green, and blue, which are primary colors. Let's move on to the leaderboard. And Maima is still on top with over 2,000 points, followed by RES and Yani Ali, only 5 points difference, followed by Shazin and HB as well. So, Khushbu, what is a black mamba? It's an interesting question. Snake, a dance, rap style, or a pig? Interesting question. So everyone got this one right. It is indeed a snake. Don't know where it's found because I've only heard the name for the first time. So let's move on to the leaderboard. And Maima is still on top with just over 3,000 points, followed by Yani, Ali, Shazin, and HB, all on 2,000, all over 2,000. So in what country would you find the Eiffel Tower? Italy, Germany, France, or Spain? Geography coming to play. It is indeed France. It is found in its capital, Paris, and known for as nicknamed the City of Love. So let's move on to the leaderboard. And Maima is on a roll with 5 in a row, 4,000 points, followed by Yani, Ali, Shazin, and Alias all on 3,000. Let's continue. What is the largest state in the United States? Alaska, Texas, California, or Florida? Another geography question. Oh, there's been a bit of the divide, but it is actually Alaska, which is the only state in the United States to be not part of the US mainland, apart from Hawaii. So there has been a fair divide. So that's the leaderboard. Should change. And no, it hasn't. Myanmar is still on top, followed by Yani Ali and Shazin and IS. So the rankings have not changed. And by the last question, let's continue. What is the capital of Illinois? So Springfield, Chicago, Rockford, or Aurora? I'm guessing this is in America. Again, a lot of geography questions. Very interesting. So it is actually Springfield. There's been a 50-50 divide between Springfield and Chicago. To be honest, I'm not surprised why people put Chicago because it is indeed the most populous city in Illinois, but is not indeed the capital. Still on the leaderboard. And once again, Al Shayan has moved to fourth, and Alias has moved down to fifth. Myanmar is still on top. How many states make up the United States? A lot of American questions. How well do you know America? Yes, indeed, it is 50 states, of which 46 of them currently are going through a very difficult phase right now during this pandemic. But anyway, let's move on to the leaderboard. And Myanmar is still on top, and HB has moved to fifth. Next question. Where is the Statue of Liberty located? Chicago, Illinois, Paris, France, London, England, or New York, New York? It is the icon of one of these cities. It is indeed New York, famous for Statue of Liberty, and the rankings have not changed, so let's move on. What is the largest land animal in the world? Giraffe, elephant, grizzly bear, or rhinoceros? Interesting question. Indeed, it is the elephant, followed by the rhinoceros, which are both one of the largest land mammals in the world. In the ocean, though, it is the blue whale. Grizzly bears are nowhere near the size of an elephant. Also, same with giraffes. So let's move on to the leaderboard. So the rankings have once again not changed. Let's move on. How many legs does a spider have? 4, 6, 8, or 10? Spiders are interesting animals. They're unique. So it is indeed they have 8 legs since they're not classified as an insect. Otherwise, they would have had 6 legs. So let's move on to the leaderboard. And Myanmar is on 8,000 points, and the rankings have not changed. Once again, let's move on. Which of the following countries is not in Europe? Spain, Belgium, France, or Egypt? More geography. Yes, it is indeed Egypt, which is actually located on the tip of Africa towards the Middle East and Asia. France, Belgium, and Spain are all in Europe. Once again, the rankings have not changed. Cheyenne has an answer streak of 6, which is good to know. He has moved up to second. Let's move on. What is the largest continent in the world? Asia, Africa, North America, or South America? I think this is referring to by landmass, meaning how widespread the continent is. Indeed, it was referring to landmass, and it is Asia, with Russia, by the way, having contributing to most of that landmass, being the largest country in the world by land size. So let's move on to the leaderboard. And the rankings have not changed. HB has moved up to 4th. Let's move on. How many bones are in the human body? Oh, this is a difficult question. 200, 206, 212, or 225? Bit of anatomy involved. So it is indeed 206, with most of these bones being comprised within our own hands and ears, with the smallest bones being there as well. Let's look at the leaderboard. And Maima has reached 11,000 points, 3,000 clear of the remaining players, which are on 8th and 7,000. So let's move on. About how many species of insects are there in the world? 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, or 5,000? More challenging questions as we go through this Kahoot. Surprisingly, more people have picked 5,000, but it actually is 3,000. I'm not sure why, but anyway, let's move on to the leaderboard. So the rankings have slightly changed, with Shazin moving up to second. And yeah, the rankings have not changed. Can we go next question? What percentage of the Earth's animals are insects? Gosh, no insects. 70%, 75%, 80%, or 85%? You'd be surprised how many insects there actually are. So there has been an equal divide of answers. It actually is 80%. Let's move on to the leaderboard. And Mima is top again. HB has moved up to 4th. Let's move on. Next question. What was the first animal sent into outer space? It's interesting. Dog, a cat, monkey, or a baboon? They've sent many things up to space, including animals. So they have sent a dog into space, which was the first animal of that time. And second most favorable option was a monkey. Not sure of the reason, but let's go to the leaderboard. And Maima is well truly clear of the rest of the players with 11,000 points, nudging 12,000. HB has moved down to 5th. Alias has moved to 4th. So let's move on. Which planet is closest to the Sun? Bit of astronomy. Mars, Venus, Earth, or Mercury? It is indeed Mercury, which is one of the hottest planets out there, followed by Venus and our very own Earth. So let's go to the leaderboard. Maima is on 12,000 points. Yani has moved to second. What fraction of the Earth's surface is covered in water? 3/4, a half, a quarter, or 2/3? We are commonly known as the blue planet because of the water on the Earth. It is actually 2/3. Most people pick 3/4, and I'm sure there has to be a reason, because before we used to be told that 75% of the Earth is covered in water, but it actually is 2/3. So I didn't even know that. So good to know. Let's go to the leaderboard. And rankings have not changed, so let's move on. What is the world's largest desert? Gobi, Kalahari, Sahara, Sonoran. Australia is mostly comprised of desert as well. So it is indeed the Sahara Desert in Africa, the most popular desert known. Yep, move the leaderboard. And Shazin is closing in on Maima. She's close to overtaking Maima on 12,000 points, with the ranking slightly changing. Let's move on. What is the tallest mountain in the world? Kamet, Nanda Devi, Nanda Parbat, or Mount Everest? Some of the tallest mountains are the most dangerous. And it is indeed Mount Everest, which should have been pretty obvious, standing well high above the other three mountains mentioned, close to 8 kilometers above the air. So let's go to leaderboard. So with 4 questions left, Maima is still first with 13,000 points. Shazin is not too far away, 12,000. And Yani, IS, and HB are close with above 10,000 points. Let's move on. What percentage of oxygen does the Amazon rainforest supply to Earth? Is it 10%, 20%, 25%, or 50%? Amazon rainforest is commonly known for being the Earth's oxygen tank. It is 20%, but most people said 25%, so not too bad. Let's go to the leaderboard. 3 questions left in this Kahoot, and Ali S is making a comeback with 3 in a row. It's good to hear. Leaderboard, 3 questions left. What is the only continent on Earth without an active volcano? Europe, North America, Asia, or Australia? There are many active volcanoes around the world, and some have just erupted only a few months ago. It is indeed our own backyard in Australia, which does not have an active volcano right now, but our close neighbour New Zealand does. So let's move to the leaderboard. Shazin has overtaken Maima. My goodness, she has come back with first now. Maima's dropped to second. Alias is an anxious streak of 4. So 2 questions left, I think. Let's move on. How many billions of people currently live on Earth? Over 30 billion, 10 billion, over 50 billion, over 6 billion. So every country is doing its part to vaccinate the whole population of the Earth. It is indeed 6 billion, and it is expected to grow significantly over this coming century. So let's move on to the leaderboard with 1 question left. Shazin is still on top of Maima with only 27-point difference. So last question of this Kahoot. It's a tight race. Which is the only food that does not spoil? So yogurt, honey, peanuts, or turkey? This is really tight. Last question of this Kahoot. And it is indeed honey. And that is the end of the Kahoot. So let's see how everyone turned out. Can we go to the leaderboard, please? So on third place, we have Ali S, 16 out of 25, followed by Myanmar, which consistently remained first throughout the Kahoot. Now in second, which was 17. And first is Shazin. Congrats with 18 out of 25. Well done, Shazin. And a late comeback from her. She was fighting for that position. So well done to everyone who played in this Kahoot. So that is the end of this live stream, and thanks for watching. And if you found this video live stream useful, share it, share it to others, and we will see you in future live streams. Thank you.